as you know, Stephen Colbert has left his show after a pretty epic ending streak. Good viewership because there was a lot of interest in the ending, and then he had a big finale. And while there's not a direct Trump got him fired, there's an environment where Trump's buddy, the Ellisons, took over Paramount, took over CBS, started ruining CBS News, Tony Dokapil. South Florida, and we salute you, Marco Rubio, right? And then you had the different debacles with 60 Minutes, bending the knee to him, and then Barry Weiss trying to bury the Seacott story, and then hosts leaving saying that the executives are getting way too much involved and trying to make it a little bit sugar-coated for Trump, and the Ellisons have made moves to make CBS more friendly to Trump, as has Barry Weiss. So people point to those context clues to say maybe Colbert being ousted wasn't just a business decision, okay? So they argue that it was just about money. It was just that Colbert wasn't bringing in enough revenue, and so he was out. And we're going to get a show to replace that slot that has better ratings. And instead, they got a show that's not looking good so far. And nothing against this person. Now I'm blanking on the name, but it'll come up in a second here. But it was like a billionaire comic from back in the day who is buying the time slot. So like he is paying the network to put his show, Comics Unleashed, on the time slot where Colbert used to be, which is a bizarre business arrangement for you to pay the network. And that's what's happening. So how's it going? Let's check in with friend of the show, John Adirola from The Damage Report, who broke this down.
So that's more representative. If you wanted to get views, it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. Now, maybe they don't care. Maybe the guy's just going to shower them with so much money that it'll work out. But I don't know. He's a billionaire. He supposedly understands business, too. I don't know why he would keep doing that. And by the way, he's an old school comedian. I don't even really have that much of a vested interest in Byron Allen. That's not the point of this segment. It's just...
That's who it is, Byron Allen. Yeah, I had the same thought. Like, it's nothing against him or making fun of him. It's just, if their argument was, we're going to have something so much better that we're going to replace Colbert with, you'd think it would be better. But I'm going to read you, after I play this John Adirola clip, the reviews, or one of the reviews that was written out very thoughtfully, and it's rough. And the numbers aren't great, as he was breaking down that the ratings have not lived up, which you would think that would be the peak. Right after Colbert's finale, a lot of people are going to keep tuning in. What's going to come next? That would be a surge, and then it would go down from there. So it's already starting way below Colbert. That's not a good sign for CBS. But again, maybe they didn't actually do this just for better revenue, but actually did it to please Trump.
If the idea is that Stephen Colbert didn't have enough of an audience, he wasn't a good enough host or whatever, I don't know. It kind of looks like comparatively he was doing pretty well.
Quickest pause to request that you click the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. It's completely free, and it's the simplest way to support the work that we do. Right below the video, click that subscribe button, and then also, whatever you're thinking or some random statement, drop it in the comments. That helps algorithmically, and click the like button. Back to the video.
Particularly amongst the viewers in the demo, which we know for advertising is far more important. And this is like if you're ever going to do well, you'd think immediately you'd do well, unless you'd poisoned the well so much by turning off your viewers, by being seen to be bowing down to Donald Trump and just doing whatever the regime wants. That's my theory. Anyway, here's what Byron Allen had to say about this. At the end of the day, I'm not trying to replace Colbert. I mean, that is literally what you're trying to do. I am not trying to hold on to his audience, because Comics Unleashed has been around 20 years and has its own audience. Not everybody's going to love me. Not everyone's going to love the fact that I'm not being racist or anti-Semitic or sexist. But I don't necessarily understand. Is he implying that that's what Colbert did? I'm assuming that's not what he's implying. I'm assuming that's him saying, well, this is very clean comedy, and in the current day and age, that doesn't play well, which I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean,
So yeah, it seems to be bombing hard, and let's see what we mean by that. Stephen Colbert's CBS replacement absolutely destroyed and devastating review. This is nothing against Byron Allen. I don't know. I don't actually know who that is, but apparently it's the person who got the time slot. It's really about CBS. CBS canceled The Late Show and had been long hosted by Colbert and turned it over to the Byron Allen Comics Unleashed, who is paying CBS $15 million a year for a half-hour segment. That's such a weird thing to do. And then here is The Guardian's Andrew Lawrence giving a rating after watching this, because I didn't and we can't play it on the show, but we're going to go through and see Comics Unleashed what the Andrew Lawrence review after watching it so we didn't have to was. The applause. Dear God, the applause, Lawrence begins. It has you bracing against the headboard and groping for the remote. Lawrence, this is a weird beginning. This is my review of Comics Unleashed. Imagine yourself, sweaty, trembling, grasping at the bedboard as you grope for an object. Your body convulses, and you say, this show is bad. That's a weird beginning to a review. Okay, so your headboard you're grasping it, and you're groping for the remote when Comics Unleashed detonates onto the screen just before midnight. A soulless barrage of whoops, cheers, and something terror clapping. It hits like a jet engine at takeoff, swallowing the show's disembodied announcer in a silo of his own manufactured zaniness. Oh, the applause snuffs out introductions to the guests, all stand-up comics, a who's who of who's that. Who is this? This is Andrew Lawrence. This is a who's who of who's that. And upstage is a modest studio audience that appears to have been rounded up from pamphlet-clutching LA tourists. Lawrence faulted the program for having no writers or discernible point of view, which he said was intentional as the network's new owner, Larry Ellison, bent the knee to Donald Trump, and he said the results are appallingly bland and uninspired. So this is the part that's notable. If you get so afraid, which CBS is, the Ellisons are, if you get so afraid of bothering a super sensitive president, number one, you don't understand what America's supposed to be about. And number two, your content gets so bland. These shows that have tried to do we're going to sort of avoid any touchy subjects and just tell you, isn't it weird how people don't know their order yet when they get to the end of a line and they stare at a Starbucks board when they had 10 minutes to think about their order? And you're like, And then what drives me crazy, which this was described, I went and looked at a clip, but is they get these crowds, and when the show's funny and the crowd goes, you're like, okay, that's funny. It's kind of like adding to the humor. But when the show's not funny, and then you have this crowd who's being directed, and I think sometimes signaled to be like Bill Maher's show sometimes, he'll be like, so yesterday I was at a restaurant, and the crowd's like, like, what? That was not even a joke. Why are they laughing like that? That's what this was like. They're like, all right, welcome everybody to the show. Today's going to be, I guess, a good show. It's just like a whole crowd of talkers. It just really ruins the vibe. Viewers conditioned to expect sharp monologues, celebrity interviews, and some kind of live wire unpredictability at bedtime should try Jimmy Kimmel instead, or better yet, wait for John Oliver. Comics Unleashed is not a show you tweet about in the moment, discuss the next morning, or DVR with anticipation. It exists one evolutionary rung above a looped fireplace video, the sort of thing Walmart might run silently on showroom TV walls. This is unhinged. Allen will keep most of the show's advertising revenue under his agreement with CBS, and Lawrence said the Hat comic had repurposed his venerable syndicated program in a prominent slot in a way that felt unstuck from time. This is what they're doing. You saw it in their trying to repurpose primetime CBS News with the Tony Dokapil sort of real generic ChatGPT written. Like if you put in summarize today's events but don't offend anyone's political views. That's what Tony would spit out. And it's a similar thing here. Trying to do comedy when you never touch on people's toes a little bit. You never get into any edgy territory is kind of impossible. Watching the show's first week on CBS was not nostalgic in any comforting sense. It felt more like stumbling across an old ice machine in a dark hotel hallway, still running somehow despite the fatal-sounding clatters and groans. There's an unmistakable superficiality to Comics Unleashed. The generic prefab set is lit like a furniture showroom. The canned video filling the B-roll intros looks scraped from Shutterstock, and the framed photos of John Lovitz and Sinbad feel ripped from Comedy Cellar wall. That's brutal. That is brutal. So if you were curious on how it was going, if you stopped watching Colbert's time slot because Colbert's gone, that is how it is going.